me back to, what we were just saying, and that is recognizing that I don't have all that is necessary.
Okay. Whew. So nerve-wracking. Like I used to do like comedy and things, and this is worse. Okay, let me tell you why. Because I'm so used to masking, showing up as myself on camera is a very vulnerable thing for me to do. Everywhere I've shown up on any kind of camera or platform, it's always been a version of myself that I'd made more acceptable to whoever the audience was. So this is not going to be that. I don't know what this was supposed to look like, but the way I'm doing this video right now is not the way I thought I would be doing it. And I know it's not going to look perfect, and I've accepted that. So let me just tell you quickly what's happening in my life right now, and why I'm here. 2 years ago, I walked into church. I was struggling with anxiety and depression for a very long time, trying to manage it the best way I could, but nothing I did could take it away completely. I was going there because I felt like I ran out of options. I had been running from God for 4 or 5 years at that point, because I felt like I did compromise my faith and my beliefs, because I didn't trust him to do the things that he said he would do. And in that moment, he met me there and healed me. He took my anxiety and depression off me like a weight. It felt like a weight was lifted off of my shoulders. After all of this happened, I took my daughter. She came to work with me one day. It was her school holidays. I wanted to do something with her, so like on my lunch break, we went to the art library, and I took her and we went inside, and they had a William Kentridge exhibition. There were like, those music stands where people put their sheet music on when they, playing music. They had a number of those spread out throughout the gallery space, and they had replicas of his notebooks all over the place. And I got to one of his notebooks, and I just opened it because you could leaf through it. It was like a lifelike replica, and it was like scribbles and notes and drawings and nothing like polished or anything. It didn't make any sense. I didn't even know what I was looking at, but I was overwhelmed. I'm still not sure why, but something in that notebook spoke to something very deep within me, and it felt like what I was looking at was freedom. And I was actually so embarrassed. I told my daughter, I'm so sorry, I don't know why I'm crying. She just laughed at me, and we just carried on walking throughout the exhibition. And I didn't cry at any of those other notebooks. It was just opening that first notebook and seeing something. It was like something inside of me remembered and longed for. And I kind of put it out of my mind after that. And then I went to the shopping mall with my family, and we walked in, and I kicked something. I kicked something on the ground, and I looked down to see what it was, and I went over and I picked it up, and it was a little Lego figurine. God is like really funny sometimes. If you haven't had that experience, like, just pay a bit more attention. I went over to the Lego figurine and I picked it up, and it was a little artist, and he had these crazy like matador pants on, and something about me is like, I have a thing for crazy pants. I don't own very many crazy pants, and I think that kind of speaks to that yearning for freedom that I felt at that first notebook. And when I was looking at that, I felt like God was trying to show me his nature, that he's actually a creative being who doesn't take himself too seriously. He's playful and he's fun and he loves to create things. And it was almost as if he was giving me permission to be playful again and to create and have fun. So this happened right outside P&A, which I don't think is a coincidence. So I decided to go in, and there was like a wall section at the back, and this lime green wall just stood out to me. And I asked my husband, do you think I should buy this? And he's never seen me knit ever. And he was like, why? And I was a little bit discouraged by that. And we went on, I think we had lunch at the mall that day or something. And on our way out, we had to pass P&A again. And I said, let me just go in for a second. And without any plan or any reason to, I got the lime green wool and I took it home with me. And I'll show you what I made with it without it needing to make sense. I just did it. What happened after that was I started looking for art classes, and I came across a class. It said something like creative enrichment or art enrichment classes for mothers and teachers, and that made me really curious. And I contacted the woman whose name was listed, and she said unfortunately it's been discontinued. But for some reason, I still felt like I wanted to speak to her because I wanted to find out why they created this class, Art Enrichment, specifically for teachers and mothers. And she was like so open and invited me to her home in Claremont, and she made me biscuits and tea. And she just told me that most times when teachers and mothers come to her, because they are, dealing with kids and things like that, they sometimes can get wrapped up in pouring out without filling up, and that most of the time they are actually burnt out. And what she does is she teaches them to draw like children. And she was saying that when she teaches this class, she's not teaching them how to draw, she's teaching them, why is this making me emotional? She's teaching them how to see again. She's teaching them how to pay attention. The other thing that she shared with me in that class is that she also used to be a teacher, and she used to teach art to like young children, like grade R. And this is making me emotional again, and I'll tell you why in a second. She said that little kids at that age don't need to be taught how to draw. They already know how to draw. You put an object in front of them and you say, draw this, and they'll draw it with no hesitation, absolute confidence. They won't ask, how do you do this, how do you do that? They'll just start drawing freely. And she says in school they lose that ability. I remember I used to love drawing and painting. When I started school, I was 5, and we used to be given drawing tasks. One of it was draw yourself, and I used to draw myself as a princess. I used to draw a crown on my head. I used to give myself a necklace. I always had long pink nails and a beautiful dress. And the teacher started telling me to stop adding these accessories, to draw myself as I am. But this is how I saw myself. This is how I wanted myself to be represented, as a princess. And I kept getting into trouble every time I expressed myself freely. So when this dear lady showed me some of the pictures of a young student's work, there was one picture of a little kid and all his teeth were different colors. like a rainbow teeth. And the same thing that happened with the William Kentridge notebook happened when I looked at this picture a little kid had drawn, which was that I was moved to tears. So I started putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Clearly there was something in me that wasn't able to express freely anymore. And I feel like God wanted to restore that. So that's what I'm doing. That's what's been happening. Something creative has woken up in me. I've made a couple of things, like this YouTube channel. It's quite a big step for me because at this point in my life, I am very inclined to live a very simple, quiet life. And he's like, no, talk to the women. And I guess that's what I'm doing. I hope you enjoy it.